Okay, Lydia, thank you so much for sitting down with me. You need no introduction, but if I were to introduce you, I would say Hall of Famer, major champion, Olympic medalist, and a dame now. Did I forget anything?
No.
Yeah.
It's always obviously a little embarrassing to hear all those things, and now that I am a dame, I feel like I'm 60.
Yeah.
Which and some people have said, "Oh, should I call you a dame? Should I do the curtsy?" And I was like, "Please,
Please
I'm still
don't.
the same me." Yeah.
All right, so next time I see you, I'll curtsy, basically.
No, thank you. I'm
Just
gonna run
kidding.
away.
No, I'm good. I'm good. We're in 2025. Kind of crazy that it's already here. But I want to go back a little bit. Your 2023 and your 2024, they had big contrasts, but I think that's just kind of golf, you know. From the outside looking in, it seemed like your 2024 was a fairy tale. Is that like a good way to explain it, you would say?
Yeah, I think so. I became Player of the Year for the first time in 7 years, I think, in 22, and I finished with winning the Outdoor Championship. And little did at that moment I think that I was gonna have my worst season right after, and which was not the best timing, especially because I knew that 2024 was going to be a very important year for me with the Olympics coming up. And the better momentum you have, you just think that you're going to have better favor,
Right.
for the event. And, I won, the first event of the year, the HGV Tournament of Champions at my home club. And I think that kind of reset everything. And, what was a bit of a sour year, I was able to kind of turn a new chapter and, just move forward. And like you said, I think that is the characteristics of golf, as annoying as it can be. One day you could have some of the best rounds of your life, and not a lot is that different, and you have a poor round. So
Yeah.
it's hard even from a day-to-day basis, and that's why being so consistent over a whole season, and even kind of the year that Nelly had last
Yeah.
year, it's really unheard of. But I am obviously very pleased and proud of the way I played last year.
Yeah. And you mentioned the tournament that was last week. We're just now coming off of that. And so last year, you also went into a playoff at this tournament. And then some time passed, and eventually you were on your way to Paris for the Olympics. And you mentioned it, that it was a big year for you, and that was your chance to get your third medal. Did you feel the pressure going into it, or were you just like, you know what, whatever happens, happens?
I think for all three of the Olympics that I've played in, I've kind of come in different situations. In Rio, I was the number one player, so there was a lot of expectations. And with golf being back in over 100 years, you kind of want to make a statement
Yeah.
and would love to be part of that history and be on the podium and to come off with a silver medal. And as much as I would have wanted the gold, especially being in the final group on that last day, I think that was probably the best second place finish I've ever had. And in Tokyo, I wasn't really playing well, so there was very small amount of expectations. And I think for me, being I think one of the few that had the medal from the previous games, playing in the field, I think there's less pressure to need to get a medal, because I already know that I did medal.
Right.
And I think that's just been, I think, the reason why it's been a little bit easier in that sense in Paris and Tokyo, because I felt like there was nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And in Paris, I knew that it was going to be my last games. So I wanted to kind of give it my last hurrah, but also just enjoy it. And I was fortunate enough to play in the group behind or always around Celine Boutier, and the crowds were such
Amazing.
a big experience. And I think it just gives me goosebumps, like hearing the French national anthem and just the chants, and everybody was there to just support their own countrymen
Yeah.
and just enjoy golf. And that is really the beauty of the game. And I think that was probably some of the biggest highlights of the week outside of just medaling and being on the podium.
Right. Well, speaking of medaling, I actually want to show you a video that we have here, and I want you to just tell me what goes through your mind whenever you watch this.
Lydia Ko cements her legacy with a gold medal in Paris and a place in the LPGA Hall of Fame. Lydia now
I'm crying
has
too much.
Never.
Olympic medals, the only person in golf, man or woman, who can make that claim.
I mean, what a moment.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, to medal 3 separate times, and then, I mean, I get emotional watching that. I don't blame you for crying, but when did it even like start to feel real that even happened?
Yeah, I had a pretty good like cushion lead coming into the last 7, 8 holes, and hitting the water on 13, and Esther and a few of the other girls were kind of had really good finishes, birdieing quite a few coming in, and and I was like, wow, those are the most difficult holes. So, for them to do it under those kind of circumstances was obviously very impressive. But I just tried to focus on my game and not protect my score, but more so just focus on the strategic kind of plan that I had already set early in the week. And, being on the fairway, I think on the 18th hole was going to be the crucial bit. And for me, it was a no-brainer and not going for it in 2. So I just kind of got my numbers and headed to a good spot, and obviously hit a really good shot up there to set up the birdie. But because it was such an important moment, and even though I knew I could just 2-putt to still win the goal, I wanted to stay in my routine and focus on that, and not kind of let the environment kind of suck me in to do things differently.
Right.
And obviously to finish off with a birdie was a cool way to kind of end up getting the gold medal. But yeah, it was pretty emotional. And obviously when I hit that third shot close, I felt like I had it in the bag. But just when it did go in, I think that's when the emotions kind of finally sank in. And my husband kind of makes fun of me, like he'll like make a pot and he'll be like this, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's the only time I've ever done like had a reaction
Really
like
emotional,
that.
yeah.
But it's special, and I feel like that moment was huge, not only for me but my family and my team, and I think they are really the ones that really helped me believe that I could do it. So it was a win for all of us.
Yeah. You were really young when you started on the LPGA Tour. You literally like rewrote the rules to be able to play out here, So how amazing is it to look back at young Lydia and to now be in the LPGA Hall of Fame and to get it from that final point at the Olympics?
Yeah, I never really get emotional about, my career as a whole, but I know that I'm at least past halfway in my career, and I'm closer to the end than when I first started.
Right.
And when the LPGA actually made me like a 1.5-minute video of like me making that stroke at the Olympics and the ball dropping for my first win as a 15-year-old and all the wins kind of in between, like I think I was able to experience my career, the ups and downs through all
Relived
those
it.
times, and it's pretty amazing, and I'm obviously very thankful for it. And I've had my own fair share of, tough times.
Yeah.
And, I think the most thing I was proud of last year, especially at the Olympics, was that I was able to overcome my own doubts. And I think sometimes that's the scariest thing. And it doesn't matter what a media outlet writes about you or what somebody else thinks. Like when you start doubting yourself, it's really hard to kind of overcome that. And, I've been obviously very grateful to surround myself with good people that has kind of kept my head on straight and kind of move forward. But it's because I think I am at that point in my career, and I feel like I'm old enough that I can actually appreciate all of the ups and downs.
For sure.
That it is emotional, and I'm obviously very thankful for it. And while we're playing, from day to day, it's just hard to take everything in, but when you do get moments like that, I think that's when you're able to really appreciate, and when I'm able to appreciate the amount of love I've kind of gotten through this sport, and to say that I've been able to excel at it and hopefully continue to excel at it this year, and become a Hall of Famer in my job and what I do. It's not an opportunity that comes to everyone, so I'm obviously very grateful for that.
Definitely. And you also won in so many different settings last year. Like we have to talk about St. Andrews. I mean, that's just a dream for so many people to just play it, but also then to win the AIG Women's Open there. You came from behind and you had your family there, you had your husband. What was that moment like?
Literally the biggest week of my life was in Paris, and I was just excited that a lot of my family members were there, and because of that, I think I just enjoyed the week as a whole. I had played St. Andrews as a 16-year-old.
Yep.
It was my last major, I think, before I turned pro.
It's crazy.
And, at that point, I don't think I was able to appreciate the bridge, the history, and just the golf course itself. But now, having played a lot more British Opens and knowing more about St. Andrews and the home of golf, I think I was just able to enjoy the town and everything about the event. And I've not had the best track record around Women's Open, so I was sure and adamant that I wasn't going to win a Women's Open right after the Olympics, just because it was too good to be
Probably
true.
weren't even thinking about it.
No, and I mean, even coming down the last few holes, I had no idea. And on 16, I chipped it close, and I looked up and I saw that I was tied with the lead. So I was confused in ways.
How did this happen?
Yes, but I just wanted to this kind of what I thought also at the Olympics was make sure that I get to write my own ending, and that's what Simone Biles had said in her documentary. And I think that's so true, because you don't want if somebody outplays me, then obviously I can't really do much about it. But now I want to put in my 100% effort and hopefully hit quality shots. And if that puts me at the top, that's great. And that's kind of what happened on 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And for it to fall in that way, it was a huge surprise.
It was insane. I was watching it, and I think everyone I was with, we were all like, oh my goodness, this is insane. You mentioned writing your own ending, which I absolutely love that. This year is just another chapter in that book. Do you have any goals or dreams, not even just this year, but just, maybe for the rest of your career even?
Yeah, I think the career Grand Slam was probably my biggest goal. I think when I first said it as a teenager, I probably didn't realize how difficult that was. I probably was like, oh, she did it, maybe I could do it.
You're like, what if?
Yeah, but now, especially after last year, seeing the miracles happen, I thought, if I'd work on the right things, and I believe I have a great team around me, why not, right? And while I'm still playing golf, I want to play the best golf I can. And it's just I've had good years and had bad years after, but who's not to say that I had a great year and I'm gonna have an even better year this year. So I'm just looking forward. And the two majors that I am missing is the US Women's Open and the KPMG LPGA Championship. So I would love to win those events, and especially the US Women's Open, because that is an even smaller pool of people that have won that. And I'm a USGA champion by winning the US Women's Am. So to win the Women's Open, that would be, really cool.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Well, we are all cheering for you. And I'm just so happy we got to catch up about your last year, because it was incredible. But best of luck this year, and can't wait to watch you.
Thank you, Hope.
Thank you, Lydia.